Alright, so here's the second technique to working with scan data, and this is to basically build a surface, a loft surface usually, that matches the geometry. We were able to pull kind of cross-sectional curves off the scan data, and then go through surface modeling techniques to basically make a form. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at doing with this. So this form right there matches the scan data very closely. Let me see if I can show you. Inspect, do a section analysis. Let's see, pick a plane. And let me pull this forward as we're doing this so you can see it. So you can see as this comes through how closely this match, because we're going to basically do exactly what we're kind of doing here. We're going to have a cross section. We're going to say, oh, let's get the reference curve off of that, and then use that to further build a loft surface, and to go through and do it this technique. Okay, so alright, so the file we're going to start with is this one, brace surface match to scan, the start file. Okay, so you go ahead and open this up. Now the first thing I want to show you, because when I put this in, it was oriented this way, so I had to always constantly turn this around. So let's reset the home view, because right now if you hit that, it goes to this. If you go in and let's pick this corner, so it swings it around. Okay, so we're looking at that way. And if you look underneath this little icon right here, click on it, it allows you to set current view and say fit to view. So now notice if I go back and go to a different view and then click on this one, it takes me that to the home view. So you can redefine that as needed. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is show you the first technique of doing this, and then we'll kind of move forward, because once you learn the basic technique, you got to multiply it several times. Okay, so what I'll first do is to come in and underneath sketch. Okay, so I'll actually create a new sketch, and I'll create it relative to this reference plane. I'll actually go back to the home view to this. Go underneath sketch and then go down to mesh, and there's this create mesh section. Okay, so what you do with this, you select, that's right, you didn't need a sketch to start with, so skip that step. So you select the mesh. Notice it starts kind of orienting itself to a particular way of doing this, and you can pull through this and you can see this is the mesh section that it's going to make depending where you want to do it. Now you can grab the little manipulators and rotate it around, orient it this way, which is definitely one way to do it. Or you can actually pick like a reference plane. Let's see if I can turn on one of these and orient it that way as well. I need to click right there and select that, and so now that is at least oriented correctly, and then you can kind of come off of this to do different ones. Okay, so you would do this, and you're going to do it multiple times. Okay, so that creates in here under sketches. Okay, this one right there. All right, and right now it is currently a mesh section. Okay, so it's not real useful, because if you try to go in and build anything relative to this now, let's say extrude, okay, you can't select it. Okay, or if I jump over to the patch side and try to do a loft with this, you can't select it. Okay, it's kind of interesting. It's just some reference information at this point. So what you need to do next is go under sketch again, and this time go to mesh and do fit to curve. Then you select that reference, and what you get out of this is basically, and let's turn off the hand so we can actually see this a little better. I'll go back to this. So now what you do is you put in your points about how far you want to basically have a curve match it. Okay, you can go around and do like the whole thing, I guess, or well, maybe not. So I'll do this side, and once I hit stop sketch, now I have an actual sketch that has a curve that I can do something with. Okay, so it's a little say it, interesting how they go through and do this. Okay, so in that you got to kind of do it in two-step process, and also there's not like an automated way to do it where you can do multiple ones at one time. If you work in SolidWorks, it has a tool that'll allow you to scan data, basically pull scan curves. You give it, a point, you give a direction, and then you say, I want it to be every inch, or 10 millimeters or something like that, and it'll pop them all out. Why they didn't create a more automated way to do this, I'm not quite sure. It's really kind of I don't want to say convoluted, but it definitely is a lot of labor-intensive process to do it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, I'm not going to spend, have you go through and do all this, so we're going to kind of jump the gun, but I did want to show you how to do it, because if you do work on this, you would need to do your own set, okay, and kind of figure out where on this, arm, or if you do the head, or if you do the leg, where you want to do these, okay. So in this case, let's just reopen this file real quick. Don't save. Okay, so I'll go back and reopen this one. Just so I don't have any of that other stuff in there. So what I did is to make sure you go in and you do this first one up, mesh, create mesh section, okay, and then you have to go and create a fit curve to mesh section. It's the second step. So I've already got all of that done here with the sketches. So if you want to go in, turn all these on, okay, and once again, let's reorient this view. So we have ability to go back to that. All right. So, and I will turn off once again the hand reference. Okay. And that last one is a little piece that we're going to work with. Okay. So if you look underneath there, there's two parts. The mesh section, okay, you can turn off. So I'll do that real quickly and go through and do that with all of them. And what you'll see is that I just basically put in a fit curve that kind of approximate the area that I want to use here. Okay, so in doing it this technique, and now all I got to do is go to the patch mode. Okay, and go underneath. Let me turn off that scan file again. Create a loft. And basically go through and select these, and as you select them, notice you build through the profiles and you make a loft form that really very closely matches the scan data. Okay, I'll turn that back on, and you can see how closely it fit. It kind of jumps in between the two of them. I like that. Okay, so that's how you create the basic loft. Now I'll show you in the next video how to go through and basically cut it out, trim it, and then make a solid out of it that we've seen before.